He goes into the audience, shoves the mic in my face, and
No.
I do not know the words.
Hi, welcome to the guest list with Patrick Hicks. I am joined today by music curator Gabbie from New Bands for Old Heads, one of my favorite channels, websites for getting new music. Gabbie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Let's start off talking a little bit about your childhood. We talked about that in the previous interview. I know you didn't
Yes.
grow up in like a super musical household or you listened to a lot of folk music. Is it
Well,
Russian music? Was that right?
yeah, it was a very musical household, but it wasn't a musical from an American music
Right, right.
perspective. Yeah. I was exposed to a lot of radio,
Hmm.
and listened to a lot of music with friends and
Yeah.
stuff on the TV.
So what's a song that reminds you of your childhood? If you had to pick
Well,
one.
yeah. So when I had to, I was thinking about stuff that wasn't in the family that people would actually have heard of, and the
Yeah.
song that sprung to mind was "Blister in the Sun" by
Ooh,
the
okay.
Violent Femmes because it was always on like every soundtrack. I remember it being
Mhm.
a huge thing on My So-Called Life. Remember that show?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, in that show was on, well, it was on so briefly, my God. It was on when
Yeah.
I was in fifth
But
grade.
a lot of
Um,
people, I was born in 82, and so I'm like an exennial and like a micro generation. And sometimes people
Same.
call us, are you 82 also?
No, I'm 84, but
84,
we're in
okay.
the same, I think we're in the same
Same
like
bracket. And sometimes
Oregon Trail generation.
I've heard Oregon Trail and I've also heard the My So-Called Life generation because
Have
it was,
you? Haven't heard that, but I love it. I think that's perfect.
yeah, because it was on so briefly, but like
Just
if you
for
were
us.
just for us, yeah, it captured everything. Yeah.
And I
Uh,
think I was just a little technically like we weren't. Well, you're 2 years older than me, but
yeah.
that means we were both a little younger than Angela Chase, right?
Yeah, I
Which
was a little
was,
younger, but it was one of those shows that was like, oh, I gotta watch
you
this
gotta
song.
watch
What
this.
high school is gonna be
Exactly.
about. I gotta be prepared.
You gotta be prepared.
I
Exactly.
gotta know how to lean properly when I get there.
Exactly. Exactly. So we were, oh man, yeah. So you have the exact same memories. And the music on that show was perfect. And Blister in the Sun was that show probably introduced me to Blister in the Sun. And I remember this kid in my class in sixth grade trying to play it on the guitar, like in the hall.
Oh yeah,
And
that's one of the first riffs you learn if you're
of
a
course,
early
right?
guitar.
And he was like a total like Walmart Jared Leto, right? So that was like all the girls had crushes on him. So that is ingrained in my memory. And it was
Yeah,
probably around that time when like Grosse Point Blank was
yeah.
out. So it was just
Mm.
everywhere. It was funny. That was like a resurrection of that song.
I mean, it was very strange for a band that came out in the early 80s.
Right.
It felt like such a 90s band. Like they were on
Agreed.
where I grew up in Southern California, they were on the radio all the time. They were on all these soundtracks. Like they played Blister in the Sun at my like junior high dance. Like,
Oh yeah. Like for some reason that song feels emblematic. Like it's obviously resurgent and there are lots of resurgence and there's a lot of other artists like that. I
yeah.
mean, Pixies to a lesser degree, right?
Hmm.
Oh, because of Fight Club. Because of Fight Club, because Where's My Mind
Yeah.
got another boost, right? It's kind of like a version of all these songs that are getting a revival because they're going TikTok viral late,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that was our version of it, is that they were getting featured on movie soundtracks that
For
we were
sure.
obsessed with, or TV.
Added Up, I think, is in Reality Bites, Ethan Hawke singing.
Yeah.
Even though they were this 80s band, it's like they were just felt very 90s. So,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that is a great one. And then you
That
grow up and you're like, wait, what is this song about? What was I singing along
yeah, I know that took a while.
to? What is a song from a concert experience that stands out to you?
So I have garbage memory, so this is going to be a recent one, if that's all right.
Sure, yeah.
So I went to Primavera, the music festival that's in Barcelona
Oh, wow.
and Porto. I actually went to both in the same summer last year. Yes, a year ago in
Okay.
24. Um, And the last dinner party who blew up last year were playing at both.
Hmm.
And I saw them in both festivals and they kicked ass. But in Porto, they played very unexpectedly a cover of Chris Isaak's Wicked Game, which
Ooh,
blew
okay.
me away. Like
Really?
I didn't expect them to play it.
Yeah.
It's not really, well, I guess, bands cover all kinds of stuff outside of their genre all the time. But I certainly didn't expect a bunch of like mid-20 somethings,
Yeah.
posh girls to be covering that particular song. And also to just knock it out of the park the way they did.
Yeah.
Like it was beautiful. So that's sticking with me, even
Yeah.
though it was only a year ago, but
Have they released a recorded version of that, or was this only a live thing?
I am pretty sure I've looked it up since then, and I'm pretty sure the only recording or recordings of it are live.
Hmm. Okay. So this
So
is a live
that's why
track.
it was unexpected that I
Yeah.
hadn't heard it. Like, it certainly wasn't on the album or anything.
I think they're working on a new album, right? Do you know when that's going to come out?
I don't know. I don't
Okay.
know if I actually like didn't know for sure if they were working on a new album. I hope they are.
I feel like I just read that they were, but maybe I'm
Well,
wrong.
I'm definitely going to look that up after we're done here because that would be very exciting.
What is the song you associate with a specific activity? Like your driving song, your workout song?
Yeah, you asked. It was so funny when you asked it because I made you ask me in advance because I can't do any on the spot questions. Like we would just be sitting here for hours while I thought of stuff. But when you asked me in the email, you said workout or cleaning, and those are my two least favorite activities. um,
That's why you need music to get through it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I was like, okay, so for my annual workout, what do I listen to? And something I always put on a workout playlist is The Strokes' Reptilia.
Ooh, nice. Okay.
It's like very propelling,
Yeah, I
right?
can see that. I can see that.
Like I really get in the zone when I hear that song. And it's also very nostalgic.
I've always found like Julian Casablancas's singing style, not in a bad way, but he sings very lazily, I feel like.
He does. He
Like
does. So you
it'd
wouldn't
be
think,
cool, yeah,
right.
that it would be a good workout song. But it is, I get what you mean. It is have like a driving beat.
It has a driving beat. Is it? It's not a motoric beat, is it? And I have to like think of it. Kind of. Maybe not. Somebody with the actual like music theory knowledge
Yeah.
needs to confirm or
Amazing.
deny that. But it definitely has the same like propelling for it would be a good driving song too.
What is a song that makes you emotional?
Oh, this one's embarrassing. This one
That's
actually I
fun.
could have answered on the spot. I do not have a background story for this, so maybe
Okay.
I need to discuss this with my therapist, but it is Paul McCartney's Maybe I'm Amazed.
Oh, okay. Love that song. Yeah, that's a beautiful
I
song.
don't understand why it like makes me cry every time I hear it. And I don't actually, much as I love music and get emotional about music, it doesn't typically like make me weep.
Hmm.
Also, Paul McCartney, I find like, look, we talked last time, we talked about what a Beatles obsessive I was,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but Paul McCartney was always like, all right, this guy's maudlin and like a
Mm.
hype
Mhm.
man and like is not my favorite
Yeah.
of the bunch. But man, that song does me in. And I don't know why.
No, that song is great. It was on my wife and I's wedding playlist. So that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So that is the kind of playlist where it belongs, like for
Yeah.
sure.
But I mean, also Maybe I'm Amazed, he uses that bluesy voice of his that I
Yeah.
really love. Like he would only bust it out at certain times, like Helter Skelter and Oh Darling.
Oh, yeah.
But like
Yes.
he
And
busts out that big bluesy voice he does. Oh, I love it.
yeah, it's really good. I actually have McCartney on vinyl. I have very little vinyl.
Mm.
So I'm gonna need to put that on and like I don't know the last time
Have
I
a good
listened to
cry.
that record. Yeah, have a good cry.
Sometimes you need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about a song that you associate with a milestone in your life?
The only milestone in my life I could think of, this is also kind of sad, is passing the bar.
Oh, nice.
And
Okay.
I don't have it's not like I have a song that I can associate like passing the bar is the moment they tell you like you look online and they tell you you have passed the bar. And it's not like you
Right.
run around like the. the Philly Art Museum steps. Like, well, maybe actually I should have done that. Um, so it's really the songs I associated with studying to the
Okay.
bar, and that was
Yeah.
for the bar, and that was in the summer of 2010. Which was a time for music, a certain kind of music. And the song I could think of was Uffy's MCs Can Kiss.
Okay. Nice.
Um, and also Lady Gaga's Telephone.
All right. Okay. Which
So
one if you had to pick between those two?
probably Uffy. Like that whole album, actually. Sex Dreams and Denim Jeans. Yeah,
That
one
was
associates
studying
that with
music.
very serious, like
Sure.
academic rigor,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah. Do you listen to music all the time when you're studying
Um, I
or
guess I
studying?
I guess I don't study anymore, but yes,
Right.
I always did, and I
Yeah.
always had like my um when I remember like in college, I would always put on stuff like the Go Team and like really like
Oh yeah.
upbeat, like you know
Love
what I
them.
mean?
I could see that because it's largely instrumental. I mean, even though there is singing, it's almost like the voice is like an instrument in those Go Team songs where it's, just one of the layers. That would be good studying music, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And if they do sing anything, it's kind of just hyping.
Yeah. Hyping you
Just
up. Study.
exactly. Like, go, you could do this. Yeah.
Are you more lyrics or are you more music? Or do you have a preference?
I do a clear one.
Hmm.
Music to the
Really?
point where I will not notice lyrics
Hmm.
at all unless they are especially good
Yeah.
or especially awful.
I sometimes will not know what a song is about for like years, and it'll be one of my favorite songs. And I might know the words, but I was like, oh, I never even really thought about what that
Yes,
was about.
same. It's actually
Right.
like for a former comparative literature major, it's actually like it doesn't make sense why I'm like this.
Yeah. So, what is a song where the lyrics stand out to you?
Um, so because I can't go an entire conversation with you without talking about Ted Leo,
Of
um,
course. I mean, one of the
of
best
course,
lyricists of all time.
absolutely, it's Ted
Yeah.
Leo's. Well, I mean, you can kind of just like throw a dart at the wall of any of his songs, but I'm gonna go with Ballad of the Sin Eater. So there's also, I feel like I might at some point, it can be now, like finally reveal like my most embarrassing music related story, which
Oh,
involves
yes.
Ted Leo.
Oh,
Can,
yeah. How do I not already know this? Go ahead.
because
Yeah.
I've like never wanted to tell it publicly. It's actually
Oh,
not,
here.
but I'm sure when I tell you, it won't sound that embarrassing. But okay. All right. So I developed my obsession with Ted Leo initially, like, I guess right after Hearts of Oak came out.
Okay.
Um, and the first
So
time
that's 2003.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was a summer, and I was back home from college for the summer. This was in Pittsburgh, and a friend of mine from college like drove up to see me, and we went to this like super tiny venue, and it was basically a tour for Hearts of Oak,
Okay.
is my recollection.
Yeah.
And I love like Ballad of Senator was my favorite song. Like I from this album, I just thought it was the best.
Yeah.
And he had played almost an entire set, and I mean, we had probably been drinking. I had just so you can envision at the time what I was like, what I looked like. Um, I like the whole indie sleaze thing, which we wasn't what it was called back then. Like, but imagine like all the weird, like ripped up clothes and,
Hmm.
all the band pins. And then I had a neon pink pixie cut.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, like very subtle. And my friend, like there was like a break in the music, and my friend starts screaming, "Play Sin Eater, play Sin Eater, or my pink haired friend will cry." I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this. I hate this." And Ted Leo leans in to the mic and he goes, "I think if I play Sin Eater, I will cry."
Oh,
So this isn't even the embarrassing part. This isn't the embarrassing part. So he
okay.
plays some other stuff, and then eventually he does play Ballad of the Sin Eater.
Okay.
And we're all like, yay, yay. And at some point, he goes into the audience, shoves the mic in my face, and
No.
I do not know the words. And it wasn't for the chorus. It wasn't for the like they didn't think it could hate you now, did you? Like it was no. You know the song, you know how
Of
convoluted
course.
the lyrics
Yes.
are. But
You're
this one is
provoked.
especially like
Yeah.
convoluted. I basically like jumped back like the mic was on fire. I have never been so embarrassed in my life. But of course,
Oh
I was
my
like 20
God.
or 21 or something like
Sure.
that.
Oh, but
So
the
I,
pressure.
the pressure,
I feel like that's kind of on Ted. Like you
a
gotta
little
look,
bit.
make sure a person is singing along with every word before you put the mic in there.
Sure, but also like and my friend, but also I just like I
Oh,
wish I could remember what part of the song,
yeah.
right? And I also wish I could say that I now like had this like memorized up and down. I think I do once I start hearing it, but I can't just like pull it out from the
Same. Yeah, I'm the
ether,
same. Yeah.
right?
If I had like, if it was some situation where I had a gun to my head and I had to recite like all the lyrics to a song, I would be so screwed.
Yeah, that'd
I
be
have to
it.
like, I had to
That
hear the song and then maybe I'll sing along, but I'll
right.
probably still half of it I'll be faking it. Oh,
Exactly. I think we
um,
most of us are like that, but you think I would have done my due diligence and been like, okay, all right. Like I am a
and
Shakespearean actor and this will be my monologue.
well, I think that's what the kids do these days. I saw this video on TikTok a while ago about it was like a Gen Z girl talking about she was like going to some concert with her dad, and she's like, old people don't know how to go to concerts. Like they weren't singing along to every word. She's like, when I go to a concert,
Uh,
study the set list on Setlist FM.
oh
I
my
learn what
God.
songs will be there. I learn all the lyrics so that I can scream along through the whole show. And I was like,
Oh, is that why they're
yeah,
screaming
doing
through the
it. You're
whole
doing it.
show and you
Uh-huh.
can't hear it?
That's I think what they do at like Olivia Rodrigo shows and Taylor Swift shows.
Oh,
I'm not going to those shows.
yeah, same. I mean, and I
But
really like Olivia Rodrigo.
I do
Not
too, but
not
I
so
don't
much
know
Taylor
every
Swift.
lyric. Yeah.
No. I
As
like
it,
singing along. I would rather hear the artist sing. Just
yeah.
me
I
though.
mean, one of my favorite Ted Leo songs is from Timorous Me, where he says she was singing along to every word in the prettiest voice that I
Was that I
never
ever
heard.
never heard.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you're not
I
supposed to
never
hear
heard.
them sing along. Yeah, just
Exactly.
know that they're mouthing the words. You don't put the microphone in their face.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, I will never blame Ted Leo for this
You,
embarrassing moment.
you think he
Ted,
remembers that? Like maybe he was
There's
embarrassed. He's
no
like, oh
way.
my
Come
God,
on. That
I put
bitch
the mic in a
ruined
girl's
my
face and she didn't know the words. Like
like what a monster she
I
was.
thought, no, he probably thinks like, oh, what an ego I had, thinking everybody's gonna know all the words to my songs, and then I
Oh,
put
I
the
don't.
backfired.
Well, first of all, I'm sure that he has no idea, or not no idea, but that he just doesn't remember. Like it was more than 20 years ago now. So, but I will
Uh-huh.
say that of the like dozen or maybe dozens of Ted Leo shows I've been to since, like I have never tried to come up and talk to him because of that. And
Oh,
I
well, you
would
have such
have
a
because he's
great
such a chill
story.
dude.
Yes, now you have a great in. Be like, hey, I don't know if you remember this, but 20 years ago I had a pink pixie cut. You'd be like, oh, you're the one that you're
You,
singing along to
my
about the
white
movie.
whale, my pink whale.
Yeah, I never did
Oh
that again.
man.
So that song is not surprising because I know we both love Ted Leo. What is a song
Yes.
people might be surprised to find out that you love?
So I don't know how surprising this is unless people like know me personally and know my personal tastes. Um, and people who do know me know that I don't love singer-songwriters so much. I don't love
Hmm.
folk music so
Oh,
much.
okay.
See,
Interesting.
it's surprising, I think, generally for people who aren't close to me to learn that
Yeah.
fact alone. So for people who know that about me, it's probably a surprise that I like Feist.
Okay.
So like that whole era, like My Moon, My Man, like that whole album, The
Yeah.
Reminder, I really loved that album.
Yeah, that was a great one.
It was a
Is that
great
the one
one.
with one, two, three, four, or was that a
Yeah, yeah,
different?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. I think that I've gotten less uh somehow less open-minded to that as I've gotten maybe more open-minded to other genres, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Hmm.
Maybe I've just had my fill of it. I don't really
Yeah.
know.
Okay. You are like the queen of making playlists, and I'm assuming you made a lot of mixtapes and mixed CDs.
Back
What
in the day,
is
yeah.
what is a song that somebody introduced to you that you love?
So I have a good friend who also used to write, maybe still does a little bit for that magazine that I started writing for ages ago called No Ripcord, which kind of started me down um, all of this music recommendation path 20 years
Yeah.
ago. And he introduced me to this band, this pop girl group a few years ago that I had never heard of called Girls Aloud. I don't know
Oh
if
yeah.
do you know Girls Aloud?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Where are they from the UK, right?
They are, and they were, I guess, popular around Spice Girls era, and I just
Yeah, yeah.
somehow totally didn't know about them.
I don't think they totally made it in the US, but I
Right.
know they were big in the UK.
And they were like created by a American Idol style TV show. Like they
Right.
were not they did not organically
I don't think many of the
materialize.
yeah, I don't
Right,
think
that's
many of those
fair.
groups did.
But he was like, no, no, but really, they're really good. And
Yeah.
he shared an album, and I fell in love with this one song called Biology from
Okay.
them. And it is just like a perfect pop song.
Really? Okay. I don't know
Yeah.
that song specifically. I gotta check it out.
Yeah. So I recommend that you check out, well, you've heard of them at least. So that there's that.
Yeah.
So I recommend that you listen to them generally, but also that song in
Mhm.
particular was like, shit, this is excellent pop
Yeah.
music.
Okay, that brings me to a bonus track. I know you said don't put you on the spot, but for
Put me on the
everybody
spot.
doing one bonus song,
Okay.
your kind of whole mission with New Bands for Old Heads is like, don't stop listening to new music. Like you can
Yeah.
find new good music out there.
Yeah.
What's a song from back in the day that you listen to and you really do think like, yeah, you know what? They don't make music like this anymore.
Oh
Like
my God.
this is,
You know what? That does happen to me
and you can
more
it can
than
be
I care to
clouded by
admit.
nostalgia. That's fine. Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think because that has happened to me more than once, like recently, and I'm trying to think of what the last thing I listened to was where I was like, oh, maybe people are actually right. Like new music does suck. Um, let me think. Let me think. Sometimes I already mentioned the Pixies, but sometimes I think that when I listen to Surfer Rosa,
Mm,
and that's when I return to a lot, I do get
yeah.
that feeling sometimes where I'm like, I don't even know anything that sounds like this now. Like I compare a lot of bands to them,
Right.
and then I'm like, wait, but actually, I don't know anything that sounds like this, if I'm
Yeah.
being real.
Yeah. Any song in particular?
I mean, I know the songs that like Gigantic will always
Ugh,
top my list,
yeah.
probably, of Pixies songs. But it's funny because anytime someone mentions like other Pixies albums that they think are better, and I'm like, no, it's Surfer. I was like, I'll go listen to Doolittle and be like, no, you're right, it's this one. You know, like it's
All right.
just
I
they're
mean,
just so fucking good.
it's like
And
picking which kid is your favorite. Like
exactly, like
both those records are impeccable.
right, impeccable. And that
Uh,
happens to me with so like that's just one example of many. Like it's I hate to admit that I do also get that feeling like they really don't make it like they used to.
but
Quite a
sometimes,
lot.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you have to. But I mean, I get that even for music that was like not my music, even
Yeah,
stuff from the 70s, I'll be like, you just can't recapture this. So
right.
I think it's okay. The mission of your work is still valid, I think.
Yeah,
So
sure. Yeah. I'll never stop trying to convince everybody else that good music is
right.
being made, even if maybe a little bit is also in the interest of convincing myself.
So it's so funny. I first heard Gigantic because of a mixtape that somebody made for me.
Nice.
So what is a song that you have put on a mixtape or a mix CD or a playlist for somebody else that you love?
So I really wish I could remember what songs I've put on actual physical mix CDs or tapes for
Hmm.
other people, but like the
Yeah.
beauty, right, of physical tapes that we used to make is that they're gone. You gave them
Give
to
it
somebody
away.
else,
Yeah.
unless
Hmm.
you were amazing and you like documented that and who the
That would
hell
be
thought of that,
that would
right?
be yeah, that
Some
would
people
be
probably
next
did.
level.
Yeah, some people are very good at that stuff. I have no clue what I put on mixtapes for other people. So all I have is these new playlists I started making
Sure.
for general audiences, and then super, super recently started making for specific people. So all I
Okay.
can give you is like a sneak peek of a like a song I put on a playlist for a specific person that I haven't published yet. But
Okay.
it's all new music. It's all new
Yeah.
music.
Awesome.
Have you heard of mustard? Not the
Not the
literal
Kendrick
condiment.
producer.
Right.
Oh,
Not the producer and
okay.
not the literal condiment,
Okay.
but the condiment who writes on Substack about music.
No, I
Okay.
haven't.
So there is a condiment who writes about music.
Okay.
I think he just goes by, well, I'm just saying he actually don't know what Mustard's pronouns are.
Okay.
So they interviewed tons and tons of like very small musicians, small artists.
Hmm.
Um, so I am making a mix for Mustard. They kind of
Okay.
requested larger artists, like more popular stuff,
Hmm.
because weirdly they're not in tune with that, like
Okay.
as the
Oh, that's
opposite of
fun.
everyone else. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
I
a
put
challenge.
the first track that's going on there is Doechie's Nissan Altima.
Oh, love it. That's awesome.
Because
Okay.
Mustard, as you know, totally tracks. Mustard is super into hip hop. I also think that particular song is so perfect and also kind of funny to start a playlist with. Like
Yeah.
it's so like it'll wake you up.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great.
I'm excited to see what Mustard thinks
So is
of the
this a service
playlist.
that other people can get? Is this something you're doing for friends, or can people pay you to make a playlist for them?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I haven't thought about, I mean, listen, I will take money
Yeah. Oh, if
you
you're
know
not
what?
charging for
Like
this, you should.
I'm
This is
not.
a skill that you have.
This is like a series I started called New Music DNA where I pick very specific people and
Hmm.
kind of
Okay.
interview them actually. Generally people who either are into music, but not necessarily new music. And so, like, the point will be I will kind of like discover their new music DNA via
Hmm. Okay.
interviews that are not dissimilar from this one, but
Yeah.
it'll focus more on their, like, what did you listen to growing up? What are you most nostalgic for?
Yeah.
And then I'll
Okay. Oh,
kind
that's
of
smart.
work with that and give them a new music playlist based on who they are.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
so I've only published one so far, and I have a couple on deck that I'll kind of keep under my
Yeah.
hat, except I
Oh,
gave away the mustard one.
all
But
right.
listen, if people want to pay me for this, I'm all
Yeah.
for it.
You should. You should charge. All right. Last
Um,
question. This one I feel like it's gonna be really easy for you. What
we'll
is the
see.
most recent song that you've fallen in love with? You're listening
Oh,
to music all the time, so
yeah, actually. Okay,
I'm
so
curious to see what it will be.
this is pretty easy, and probably pretty expected for you. Have you heard Wet Leg's new single, Catch
Oh
These
no,
Fists?
no, not yet. But I saw
Uh,
they have new music coming out and they're touring this summer.
Yeah, so
Wow,
their new album isn't out yet. I have no idea if I'll like it. I assume I will, though. But their new single is called Catch These Fists, and I have just been playing it on repeat since it came out. It's already been like a month at least that
Oh.
it's been out. I've been listening to, I listen to music all the time, like every single, for today, I've already listened to like three new albums, but of everything that I've heard, like that's the one that I'm just playing on loop, you know?
That one stands out.
That one's really standing out. And it's always like stuck in my head.
I mean, to kind of like loop back around to Violent Femmes. So I grew up in Southern California with
Right.
this radio station called K Rock, which is the big alternative station there, and
Such
it
a
was
good
like
name for a
very
station.
famous. Yeah, KROQ. It was the best.
Perfect.
And so they played Violent Femmes a lot.
Hmm.
And they were the best station in the 90s. And then in the 2000s, I feel personally like they kind of lost their way.
Yeah.
And now when you listen to it, it's like they're still playing a lot of
The
the same
same
stuff they played
stuff.
in the 90s and the 2000s.
Yep.
And so the last time I was in California a couple years ago, I was driving around and I was still putting on K-Rock because it was just habit. Like, hey, I'm in
Yep.
Southern California. I want to put on
You're
K-Rock.
home.
It
Yep.
was like, oh, and we're still playing, the
Yep.
same stuff. The only new band that they played while I was there was Wet Leg. And I
Seriously.
was like, oh, I love this. I love this for Wet Leg. And I love, there's still some glimmer of the old K-Rock left of like,
Huh.
yes, this is the kind of band that you would have played in the 90s when you were about breaking new bands and not just playing this like alternative nostalgia hits. So yeah, I have
Interesting.
very fond memories of listening to Wet Leg on that trip because I was like, okay, this is apparently
This is the one thing
the
that
only
broke
new
through.
band that broke through. So
Huh.
uh, yeah,
Yeah, I have
looking
a
for their new record for sure.
yeah, and I have a very similar like I could literally minus the wet leg, I could tell you the same story of going back to Pittsburgh and driving my mom's car around, putting all the same stations on and being like, "Oh, so we just haven't updated the catalog since 1998." Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Gabby, thank you so much. This was awesome. Do you have anything in particular that you want to plug?
I always want to plug my Substack. It's called New Bands for Old Heads. You might as well just Google that. It'll come up because the URL is not related to that, and I need to update it. But New Bands for Old Heads.
It's one of my favorite Substack pages. You're one of my favorite people. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And if you want to be part of the New Music DNA, if you want me to
Oh,
make
of
you
course.
a
Yes, I would.
playlist,
Yeah, I
I
would be
would
honored,
love to do that with you.
but I would pay you as you
You
deserve.
shouldn't pay me, but
Sure.
other people should.
You've heard the stories, now hear the songs. Go to wherever you listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and you can listen to today's guest's personalized playlist if you search for the guest list with Patrick Hicks.